Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees to our weekly Bhakti Vaibhav Bhagavatam study. So, last 1-2 weeks somehow we could not have class, but however, previously we were discussing from Canto 5, wherein Brahmana Bharata is instructing King Rahugana when Rahugana kind of sarcastically criticized the Brahmana Bharata who was employed to carry the palanquin. Out of compassion for the hands, he was walking slowly. When king became angry, he kind of answered back to what king had said. If you think that I am the body, what you said is right, but I am not the body. So what you said is not right. So like that he said. So then the king understood this person is not ordinary person. He came down, begged forgiveness, and began to ask various questions. Then the Brahmana Bharata answered. Then the king again asked, yeah, what you have said is perfect. I have understood, but still I have a problem. As long as we are living in this material world, still there is something called the practical world. We cannot be living on the hypothetical world. We cannot be living always on the transcendental platform. In the practical world, we need to take care of the people, we need to control, we need to govern, we need to punish, we need to do so many things. So, how to understand that? How to take care of that? So then the Brahmana Bharata began to respond. See, analytically, if analyze who is the doer, you think you are the king and you are doing the things, but artically your body is made up of 24 elements. In that, especially, it is made up of Pancha Mahabhutas. And then the Pancha Mahabhutas are ultimately combination of Paramanus. Then who is the doer? Whether you are the doer or Paramanu is the doer. So, like that, he asked the questions. And the questions were asked, and where Brahmana Bharata is answering. So he wanted to bring it to the, you are talking about so much about the practical world, but the practical world is nothing but the combination of Paramanus. So in that way, he kind of indicates. So in that discussion, we have been discussing the previous verses, and now we'll continue from verse number 9 onwards. Last time we did up to 8, and then we'll continue with the 9th verse. एवं निरुक्तं क्षितिशब्दवृत्तम्
एवं निरुक्तं क्षितिशब्दवृत्तम्
असन्निधानात् परमानवो ये
असन्निधानात् परमानवये
अविद्यया मनसा कल्पितास्ते
अविद्यया मनसा कल्पितास्ते
येषां समूहेन कृतो विशेषः.
यसां समूहेन कृतो विशेषा. Translation. One may say that varieties arises from the planet Earth itself. However, although the universe may temporarily appear to be the truth, it ultimately has no real existence. The Earth was originally created by a combination of atomic particles, but these particles are impermanent. Actually, the atom is not the cause of the universe, although some philosophers think so. It is not a fact that the varieties found in this material world simply result from atomic juxtaposition or combination.
So from here, for few verses, it is all atomic theory only, full atomic theory. So let us see. What is known by the word earth, what we call earth, it exists in name only, because earth is resolved into atomic particles, which are imagined by the mind out of ignorance. Out of their combination only a particular object is made. So basically moved from body to earth. Our body and this palanquin, all these things are made up of earth, and earth is made up of paramanus. Though we may talk about earth, but ultimately, in the ultimate sense, earth is nothing but the combination of paramanus. So, earth in itself has no existence. Ultimately, paramanus are only. And what is paramanu? Which you can't see only. It is only imagined by mind. It's like this, like this, like this, like this. But no one has seen paramanu. That way, it is only imagination. So, if paramanu is imagination, the combination of the paramanus, which is the earth, is also imagination. So, like that. Earth, at least, is real. Somebody may say, कम से कम पृथ्वी को सही मानो. Earth, but he says that the word earth is only in name. Why? Because it is caused by the atomic particles, which are the cause of earth. Earth itself is not the fundamental element. Earth is made up of atomic particles. Earth cannot exist except for these particles. The particles are real. Somebody may say, at least the particles are real. These particles have been imagined by the mind out of ignorance by philosophers in order to explain the effects in the world we perceive. Therefore, particles are also unreal. When somebody says, I am a king. No, you are not a king. Your body is made up of air. So then earth is real? No, earth is made up of paramanus. If the paramanus are real, and no one has seen the paramanu, how can it be real? It is only a theory made up of the intellectuals. The reason for this conception is described. A particular object such as earth is made out of the totality of particles. One should accept the totality only rather than the parts. So it's like that. So if you say this one is real, then that is, if you say that is real. A particular object such as earth is made out of the totality of particles. One should accept the total only rather than parts. Somebody may say, if parts are imagined, so like that somebody may say. Then let us see what else. एवं कृशं स्थूलमनुर्बृहद्यद्
एवं कृशं स्थूलं ननुर्बृहद्यात् आसच्च सज्जीवं नजीवम् अन्यात्
द्रव्यस्वभावस्य कालकर्म द्रव्यस्वभावाशयकालकर्म
द्रव्यस्वभावसयकालकर्म
नाम्ना जयावेहि कृतं द्वितीयम्
नाम्ना जयावेहि कृतं द्वितीयम्. Translation. Since this universe has no real ultimate existence, the things within it, shortness, difference, grossness, skinniness, smallness, bigness, result, cause, living symptoms, and materials are all imagined. They are all parts made of the same substance, earth, but they are named differently. The differences are characterized by the substance, nature, predisposition, time, and activity. You should know that all these are simply mechanical manifestations created by material nature. Very good.
Know that everything is made by Maya, characterized by substance, nature, mind, time, and karma, with divisions of fine and very fine, big and very big, cause and effect, conscious and unconscious, skinny and fat. So when he said that at least substance should be accepted as true. अभी कोई independent fundamental particles paramanus are invisible or imagined or something like that, जो सामने दिख रहा है उसको तो मानो. Then he says that, oh my dear sir, kindly know that everything is made by Maya. Whatever you see in front of your eyes is made up of Maya only. Ajaya Krutam. Everything is made by Maya. What is made by Maya? Any substance that you see, any quality that you talk about, the mind, time, karma, with the divisions of fine and very fine, big and small, cause and effect, conscious or unconscious, skinny and fat. All these things are manifestation of Maya. One should know that everything is made up of Maya, characterized by substance, nature, mind, time, kurma, are distinct qualities like fine and very fine, big and very big, cause and effect, objects with consciousness and objects without consciousness. So, whatever variety we may say, all these varieties are made by Mahamaya, Prakriti, material nature. She is the ultimate cause. So, like that, Brahmana Bharata is. So then, the Brahmana Bharata continues. ज्ञानं विशुद्धं परमार्थमेकम्
ज्ञानं विशुद्धं परमार्थमेकम्
अनन्तरं तु अबहिर्ब्रह्म सत्यम्
अनन्तरं तु अविहिर्ब्रह्म सत्यम्
प्रत्यक् प्रशान्तं भगवः शब्दसंज्ञम्
प्रत्यक् प्रसानन्तं भगवत् शब्द संज्ञानम्
यद्वासुदेवं कवयो वदन्ति.
यद्वासुदेवं कवयो वदन्ति. Translation. What then is the ultimate truth? The answer is that non-dual knowledge is the ultimate truth. It is devoid of the contamination of material qualities. It gives us liberation. It is the one without a second, all pervading and beyond imagination. The first realization of that knowledge is Brahman. Then Paramatma. The super soul is realized by the yogis who try to see him without grievance. This is the second stage of realization. Finally, full realization of the supreme knowledge is realized in the supreme person. All learned scholars describe the supreme person as Vasudeva, the cause of Brahman, Paramatma, and others.
Now the question is, if everything is made up of Maya, then what is the truth? What is real? If the entire is Maya, what is the truth? The question. Now he talks about the truth. What is the truth? The wise say that the truth is beyond the three modes of material nature, contains everything including liberation, is one without a second, is all pervading, it is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and it is Vasudeva. There is only one thing is real, that is absolute truth. That absolute truth is Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. So that is how he indicated. Then what is truth? The previously mentioned truth, Tattva, is said to be that which is known by authority of the scriptures. So, this has been mentioned in the first canto as Tattvam Vadanti Tattvatahas Vidas Tattvam Yajnana Madvayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaneti Shabdate. So that is the ultimate truth. Knowledge is truth, which is beyond gunas. It is supreme, from which arises liberation. It is It is without a second. It is divided in internal and external. That means it pervades everywhere. It is devoid of internal and external. That means it is everywhere. So in that way. His knowledge is also Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman means the impersonal aspect of worship. So slowly, he is the kind of bringing to the absolute truth, the spiritual topics, the Supreme Lord. So in that way. The knowledge is also Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman means the impersonal aspect worshipped by the Jnanis. It is called Paramatma, worshipped by the yogis. It is called Bhagavan, worshipped by the devotees. So Prashanta means in which the Jiva is extinguished. Bhagavan is the aspect worshipped by the devotees. They say that these three forms are included in Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, who is the most complete form. So he is called Purnam Brahma Sanatanam in 10:24:32. Then he is called as Krishnaya Paramatmane 10:6:36. And he is called Tatastu Bhagavan Krishna 10:8:27. In the Gita, he calls himself the basis of Brahman. Brahmano hi Patishtaham. He also describes himself as Paramatma. Vishtabhyaham idam Krishnam ekam shena sito jagat. He also says, Vasudeve Bhagavatam, sorry, Bhagavantam, Bhagavatam. Among the forms of Bhagavan, I am Vasudeva. The word Bhaga in Bhagavan means Aishwarya or Lordship, which implies those who are controlled by the Lord. Mean the devotees in the Lord's abode. They are eternal. The devotees and abodes of the Lord are both eternal. Shabdad Masyevayadu Kadam. Faith in my devotional service is purely transcendental. In Sattva-guna, the faith is in Jnana. In Rajoguna, faith is on Karma. In Tamaguna, faith is on Vikarma. In Shuddha-sattva, faith is on me, in Bhakti. So in that way, it is said. Man-niketanam tu nirgunam. Residence in a place where I reside is transcendental. Anything related to Bhakti is said to be eternal, with all well. The intention of this section is as follows. O King, you have spoken of the material world made up of Maya, proven by the senses, which has transformations. So the oral intention, that the theme of the conversation is, O King, you have spoken of the material world made up of Maya, proven by the senses, which has transformations, which are eternal, sometimes visible and invisible. You must accept the temporary nature of these material timings, material things, since they are limited by time and place according to your own opinion. So it's basically the king is asking questions based on the practicality of the world. But Brahmana Bharata is already in transcendental. He does not want to deal with the material world anymore. He does not want to make a relationship with the material world anymore. So instead of directly saying it is all illusory, he kind of hinting at, please say it is illusory, please say it is illusory. Like that, the preachers are. But since spiritual objects are not limited by time and place, being completely different, they are not part of the material conventional world. You repeatedly talk of conventional world. Hare Krishna, you're able to hear me?
Mm, yes,
Ah,
now it is audible, but before it
okay,
was
okay.
silence.
Oh, sorry, some internet issue are there.
Prabhuji, in
Ah,
between the your voice is going and then again coming back.
yeah, I could realize here. That's why I'm asking. Sorry for that. Some internet issue glitches are there. So no problem. Now we'll try to go ahead. So basically, he's telling that anything in the material world is illusory. Anything in the material world is temporary. So I don't want to make any sambandha with them. That is the mood of Brahmana Bharata. That's why he is not, the king may be saying so many things about the practical world. He is not at all interested in all those things. Because he says, but since spiritual objects are not limited by time and place, being completely different, they are not part of the material conventional world. You repeatedly talk of the conventional world. Other philosophers say this conventional world is false. This view also has been stated. However, even these persons do not object to the conclusion of the scriptures stated in the present verse. It has been said that bhakti means engaging the senses and body for Krishna. The Lord has stated in the state said that bhakti is beyond the gunas. Lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hi udahritam. This is from third canto, 29th chapter. Lord Kapila was talking about Nirguna Bhakti. So, in that context, it's basically since every object in the material world is made up of three modes. So, anything here is material. Anything here is temporary or illusory. But anything spiritual, any spiritual object is made up of spirit. It is beyond three modes. They are only the real things. This is the conclusion of Brahmana Bharata. Because he does not want to have any sambandha with anything material. Okay, this is third life. He should be ultra careful. So in that way. Even the outcast who chant the name of the Lord once immediately gives up his body. What is the effect of this spiritual substance? The bhakti is spiritual. How does bhakti act? Even an outcast who is not even cared by the materialistic people, if he chants, he will immediately give up his body and come back to Godhead. Though his body is still visible, he gives up the body related to prarabdha karma. Though this is not seen. So then the devotee attains amrutatvam, absence of the symptoms of death, and is qualified for his constitutional position. This means that the devotee remains in the spiritual world to serve me wherever I am. This is still explaining SB 11:29:34. It is same as 11:29:34 Bhagavad Gita. But all the false material objects which exist in this world lose their material qualities by association with bhakti. The Lord makes these objects the highest truth, favorable to the desires of his devotee. What is impossible for the inconceivable power of the Lord. So basically, everything is matter. But when the matter is utilized in service of Supreme Lord, that becomes spirit. Like everyone has building, and temple is also a building. But temple is transcendental, spiritual, because it is used in service of Supreme Lord. Though it is also a material construction, but when it is used in service of the Lord, it becomes spiritual. So like that, the bhakti has the potency to transform the matter into spirit. So like that. The statements, service to me is beyond the gunas, and my abode is beyond the gunas, are not true. What is impossible for the inconceivable power of the Lord? The statement service to me is beyond the gunas and my abode is beyond the gunas are true. Shankaracharya has accepted the following from Mahabharata, Udyama Parva. What is that? Achintya kaluye bhava natam starkena yojayet prakritibhya param yascha tadachintatika lakshanam. Inconceivable states are not subjected to material argumentation. The quality in inconceivability is that it is beyond the material realm. So anything about the Supreme Lord is beyond the material world. And they are eternal reality. They are the permanent Satya, Param Satya. But the word Bhava states in the plural, one should not think that the state of oneness has been described here, since all these states are one in the Lord. So in this way, the Brahmana Bharata want to make it clear that, my dear king, you are talking about a practical world. Practical world is all illusory, but the spiritual world is real. The practical world, when employed in service of Supreme Lord, can become spiritual, can become real. So like that, he indicated. So one cannot attain the Lord without bhakti, attained by the mercy of the devotees. This is explained in 2 verses. So somebody may say, but how if spiritual world is conceptual and illusory and temporary, it is not real, then how to deliver ourselves from this illusory material world? That is by bhakti. So how to practice bhakti is explained in the next 2 verses. So any questions till now, Hare Krishna? If there are no questions, we'll go on. Rahu gunaita tapasana yati.
रहो गणैतत् तपसा न याति
Nache jaya nirvapanad gruhadva.
न चे जया निर्वपना गृहात् वा
Na chandasa naiva jalagni suryair.
न छन्दसा नैव जलाग्निसूर्यैर्
Vina mahatpadarajobhishekam.
विना महत्पादरजोऽभिषेकम्. My dear King Rahugana, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by serving celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of the household life. Leaving home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyasa, or undergoing severe penance in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water or surrounding oneself in summer by fire and the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee.
So how to attain the mercy of a great devotee and hence practice the bhakti is indicated here. Vina mahatpada rajobhishekam. Without bathing in the dust from the feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the Lord. Through concentration of the mind, performance of sacrifices, distributing food, building shelters for the destitute, studying the Vedas, or performing austerities in the water, fire, or the sun. So basically, the scriptures prescribe so many rules and regulations, so many pious activities. But these pious activities may at most take one to Swarga, but does not take one to spiritual world. Only by bhakti one can go back to the real spiritual world, which is eternal. And that bhakti is obtained by the mercy of a guru. So that is what is indicated here. Without bathing in the dust from the feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the Lord through concentration of the mind by performing tapasya or by performing yajnas or by distributing food, constructing satras like hermitage places and all, and studying the Vedas, or performing tapasya inside the water, performing tapasya in the fire, performing tapasya under sun, etc., etc. All these hardships does not bring one to spiritual world, except bhakti. That is indicated here. O King Rahugana, the three types of realization just mentioned cannot be attained by tapasya or other methods. Tapas means concentration of the mind. Ijja means Vedic activities such as sacrifices. Nirvapanat means giving food in charity. Grihat means establishing shelters for helping others. Chandasa means by study of the Vedas. Jalagni Surya means by performing austerities involving water, fire, and sun. Basically, performing tapasya under the water, in the midst of fire, under the sunlight, so something like that. So these things will not accord one the entry into spiritual world. That is only possible by bhakti, that is being indicated. Then say first verse Vina Mahatpada Rachobhishekam. So one need to bathe in the dust of great devotees of the Lord. So who are those great devotees whose lotus feet dust has to be bathed? That is indicated in the next verse. Yetrottama shloka gunanuvada.
यत्रोत्तमश्लोकगुणानुवाद
प्रस्तूयते ग्राम्यकथा विघातः
प्रस्तूयते ग्राम्यकथा विघातः
निसेव्यमानोऽनुदिनं मुमुक्षोर्
निसेव्यमानो नुदिनं मुमुक्षोत्
मतिं सतीं यच्छति वासुदेवे.
मतिं सतीं यच्छति वासुदेवे. Who are the pure devotees mentioned here? In an assembly of pure devotees, there is no question of discussing material subjects like politics and sociology. In an assembly of pure devotees, there is discussion only of the qualities, forms, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is praised and worshipped with full attention. In the association of pure devotees, by constantly hearing such topics respectfully, even a person who wants to merge India gradually becomes attached to the service of Vasudeva.
So, who is the devotee whose lotus dust has to be bathed is being indicated here. Where there are great devotees, talks concerning the qualities of the Lord, which destroy material topics, are sung, heard constantly, even by those desiring liberation. Those topics produce pure thoughts of Lord Vasudeva. Who are those devotees whose dust should be taken? Those who are eager to hear, those who are eager to speak, or those who are eager to discuss. Such kind of great devotees are, their shelter should be taken. Where one bathes in the dust of their feet, or where there are great devotees, the qualities of the Lord, such as his affectionate nature, are repeatedly glorified. So, in that way, even those desiring liberation, listen. These talks produce pure thoughts of Lord Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, without the desire for liberation. So basically, the devotees are only concerned about hearing and discussing the glories of the Supreme Lord. And those who desire liberation, they take the association of such kind of great souls. That is what is indicated. Then, having heard all these things, आप तो दिख रहे हैं एक पागल जैसा है. You are looking like a normal madman. But all these talks indicate that you are not an ordinary person. So please tell me, who are you? What is your true identity? So like that, the king is indicating. He did not ask, but he is indicating. Who are you? So merciful to give teachings or knowledge to a great offender like me. Even though I offended you, I went to palanquin, I criticized you, I chastised you, I scolded you, but still you opened my eyes. You delivered me today. Who are you? Then the Brahmana Bharata revealed his identity as the Maharaj Chakravarti Samrat Bharat Maharaj. So like that. Aham pura bharato nama raja
अहं पुरा भारतनाम राजा
vimukta drishta shruta sanga bandha
विमुक्तदृष्ट्वा श्रुतसङ्गबन्ध
आराधनम bhagavata ihamano
आराधानं भगवत ईहमानो
mrugo bhavam mruga sangat datartaha.
मृगो भवं मृगसङ्गात् धातरथः. Translation. In a previous birth, I was known as Maharaj Bharat. I attained perfection by becoming completely detached from material activities through direct experience and through indirect experience. I received understanding from the Vedas. I was fully engaged in the service of the Lord. But due to my misfortune, I became very affectionate to a small deer, so that I neglected my spiritual duties. Due to my deep affection for the deer, in my next life, I had to accept the body of a deer.
He talking about his previous lives. Previously, I was a king named Bharata, who was free of attachment to all material dealings, seen or heard. I worshipped Lord, but from association with a deer, I was thwarted in my goal and became a deer. So after the story is mentioned. Giving up all my kingdom, I went to forest and began to worship the Lord, but there I became attached to a deer. I gave up my worship. As a result of that, I became a deer. So in that way. I was freed from the bondage of attachment to dealings of this world, seen or heard. By misfortune, I became inattentive. Then I became a deer. And then what happened? Somebody was trying to ask some question previously. Hare Krishna. Samam smrutir mrugadehe pivira.
कामादेऽपि वीरा
Krishnarchana prabhavano jahati.
कृष्णार्चना प्रभवानो नुहाति
Ato aham janasangad asango.
अहोऽहं जनसङ्गसङ्गादना असङ्गो
Vishankamano vivrutascharami.
निसक्तमनो विषयस्तचरामि. Translation. My dear heroic king, due to my past sincere service to the Lord, I could remember everything of my past life, even while in the body of a deer. Because I am aware of the fall down in my past life, I always keep myself separate from the association of ordinary men. Being afraid of their bad materialistic association, I wander alone, unsolicited by others, unnoticed by others.
O King Rahugana, in the body of a deer, my memory, by the power of my previous worship of Krishna, did not leave me. Fearing metal association, I wandered about alone incognito. Even as a deer, I could remember my previous life. As a result of that, I did not associate with other deers. I used to live away from them and take the association of great sages. His worship of Lord Krishna, though failing in the last life, saves him. Fearing mental association, I wandered about unknown. This basically, even though I became deer, but I did not behave like a deer. I was living along with the sages, living like a sage. Because I do remember about. Then what happened? Then I born as a Brahmana boy. That will be indicated in the next verse. Tasmannaro sanga susanga jata
तस्मात् नरसंग सुसंग जाता
ज्ञानासिनेहैव विकृक्नमोहा विवृक्नमोहा
ज्ञानासिनेहैव विकृष्णमोहा
हरिं तदिहा कथनाश्रुताभ्याम्
हरिं तदय्यं कथं श्रुताभिहाम्
लब्धा स्मृतिर्याति अतिपारमध्वनः
लब्धा स्मृतिर्यति अति परमम् अवधनाः. Translation. Simply by associating with the exalted devotees, anyone can attain perfection of knowledge, and with the award of knowledge can cut to peace the illusory association within this material world. Through the association of devotees, one can engage in the service of the Lord by hearing and chanting. Thus, one can revive this dormant Krishna consciousness and, sticking to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, return home back to Godhead even in this life.
Cutting up illusion by the sword of knowledge, arising from detachment from matter and detachment to attachment to devotees, and gaining remembrance of the Lord by speaking about and hearing the pastimes of the Lord, a person attains the Lord at the end of samsara. So basically, so even this last line we can say that even as a deer, I was afraid of metal association. I was staying away from my deer family members. I was associating the sages. Even the next life, when I appeared as a Brahmana boy, fearing metal association, I was living separately. I was living like a madman so that other people will not disturb me. So this last line we can apply for both the lifetimes. But then he says, why you want to live like that? Why so much a different lifestyle? The reason is cutting up illusion by the sword of knowledge, arising from detachment from matter and attachment to devotees, and gaining remembrance of the Lord by speaking about and hearing the pastimes of the Lord. A person attains the Lord at the end of samsara. There is only one way to come back to Godhead. Detachment from matter, attachment to devotees. Otherwise, there is no possibility of going back to Godhead. Detachment from matter, attachment to devotee. This is very much required, without which one can never ever come back to Godhead. Keeping that in mind, I was not interested in dealing with materialistic people, becoming attached to materialistic people. I just want to stay away from the materialistic people. I just want to associate with devotees. I remember Lord's pastimes in the heart of my, or in the core of my heart. That's all. That's why I'm remaining alone. So in that way. Asanga means detachment from material things. Susanga means attachment to devotees. By these two, one can gain knowledge, which is the sword. Jnana sina. So that is the Jnana sinehaiva vivrukna moha. With that Jnana asina, the sword of knowledge, one should cut the ignorance, illusion. So in that way. With the sword, a person cuts illusion in the form of an elephant and attains the Lord at the end of samsara. So this is how one has to get rid of this material existence and come back to Godhead. There is something called as Jnanasina, the sword of knowledge. So when you take a sword, we also remember the pastime of Lord Kalki. Lord Kalki rides on a horse and holds on a sword. There are two things are there. One is horse. Horse represents detachment from the material world, and sword represents jnanasina, attachment to knowledge. Holding knowledge in hand, sitting on the detachment, the horse of the detachment, one should do. Get away from this material existence. So that should be only that is the way to go back, come back to God. Otherwise, one cannot go. Otherwise, this material world has so many issues, so many problems. All the issues should be cut to pieces with the sword of knowledge. That will be explained in detail in the next chapter. The next chapter is about forest of material enjoyment. When a Vartaka by mistake enters into a forest, he has to go through so many troubles. But how to come out of this troubled material existence? That is, you ride on the horse of detachment, hold the sword of knowledge. With that sword of knowledge, cut through all the difficulties, all the obstacles, go beyond material existence, the forest of material existence. That is the only way. So that's how this is the seed verse for the next chapter. So if at all you want to come back to Godhead, there are only one way. You have to hold the weapon of knowledge and sit in the horse of detachment and become attached to devotees. So if you want to be with the devotees, you have to go to spiritual world. To go to spiritual world, you have to cut through all the obstacles of the material world. That cutting is possible with the knowledge, the sword of knowledge. So that is indicated here with this verse. The same thing will be mentioned in the next verse. So it's like that. Any questions till now?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, we are discussing this series of slokas, association of devotees. Our life, our case, we are not getting association. Most of the time, we are associated with material people. What type of association we should take regularly so that we can detach from these material things?
So what can be done, Prabhuji? Our lifestyle is like that. We have to go to office, we have to go to work, and this, that, we have to deal with people, and everyone is after other material subject matters. That is there. So that we cannot avoid. So at least we need to keep some time in a week to associate with devotees and to energize ourselves so that we can tackle with this the whole week. It's like when we charge a mobile, it will work for a day. Same way, we have to charge ourselves daily for some time so that whole day we can function. Charge once in a week so that whole week we can function. So that way we have to do it. Sometimes direct association may not be possible. So we have to read or listen or discuss or whatever. Something or other. We need to protect ourselves. Okay, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Like, Prabhuji, in one of the slides it was mentioned that anyone who once takes the holy name of the Lord is free from prarabdha karma. So does it mean that devotees are not under the karma? They are under, like, they are free from Mahamaya? Like, what does it mean?
Yes. If a person becomes 100% devotee, one is free from the influence of Maya.
But it was said that only once who chant the holy name becomes free from prarabdha karma. What does that mean?
See, that is true. That is to indicate the power of the whole name. Even if one chants whole name properly, one can be freed from all one's part of the Kutam, Bijam, etc. That means holy name has that much power. But that does not mean that holy name has to act upon each and every person like that. The holy name also has its own free will to act or not to act.
I mean, the devotee, the sadhaka, they are chanting the holy name, they are still under the karma. Means whatever wrong they do, they'll get the karma and they will get the reactions.
See, again, don't find fault with anybody. Yes, I'm not sure that we are chanting holy name properly, but we are trying to chant holy name. We are not yet become Shuddhanama chanters. Either we are chanting Aparada Yukta Nama or Abhasa Nama as of now. I mean, we are chanting holy name also side by side. We are also cultivating material desires, pursuing material desires. All these things are there. So everything has their influence to act upon us. In one side, holy name is trying to inspire, come close to Krishna. Other side, our own material habits and material temptations are taking us away from Krishna. So who will win among these two?
It does it mean that only person who is chanting Shuddha Nam will be able to completely free from
See,
karma?
it is like this. Yes, holy name has power. Even somebody chants once, holy name can act, but we cannot demand it. Even when a holy name chanter will never say that I have chanted once and holy name should act upon me. If the person, the more one becomes pure and pure, one thinks oneself the more impure. There is more humility and there is more surrender for more mercy. It's like that.
Okay, bro.
Yes, holy name can act, but we cannot demand that holy name should act upon me. In that.
Okay, bro. Thank you.
So this is one of the important chapters in the fifth canto. Not only fifth canto, but the entire Bhagavatam also. As we have mentioned in one of our book, Bhagavatam, the Seeker Journey, the fourth and fifth cantos talks about when we take up bhakti, what are the different obstacles that can come in the path of in the life of a sadhaka. So most of them are described with the help of so many pastimes till now, starting with Sati Devi, Daksha Prajapati, the fourth canto, until now, so many ways have been mentioned. But there are so many other things are also there. So for everything, you cannot describe a huge pastime. So here in this one chapter, all those things which are not mentioned till now, which all can come as an obstacle in the life of a sadhaka, are quickly summarized. So basically, Bhagavatam is actually in advance preparing us. Oh, you have become devotee? Just watch. All these problems can come in your life. So with the sword of knowledge, with the fencing of the devotee association, with the horse of detachment, go through all these difficulties and go back to Godhead. So that is the intention. In the 13th chapter, by describing the forest of material world, Bharata puts the king on the horse of the detachment so that the king will cross over it. The last verse of the previous chapter mentioned crossing over material life. What is that path and what is the traveler on the path? This chapter answers. So connection from the previous verse to this chapter is this one. So basically, these things we have to remember. One should be seated on the horse of detachment. One should be protected by the fencing of devotee association. One should be holding on or clinching on to the sword of knowledge. And by riding on the horse, one should cross the forest of material enjoyment. Because the forest of material enjoyment is meant to give us so many obstacles, so many difficulties. So with the intelligence, with the help of that sword, one has to cut through all these obstacles and move on, go back home, back to Godhead. That is indicated in this chapter. So this chapter, so many obstacles are mentioned, but at the end of this chapter, I think Parikshit Maharaj asks, my dear Sukadeva Goswami, you talked about the conversation that took place between Maharaj Rahugana and Brahmana Bharata. So the discussion is too technical. They might have understood, but the common people will not understand. Can you please help us understand? You told a story of a Vartaka traveling in the forest, and you are talking about so many things. But what they represent in our daily life, that you please explain. The meaning of each and every alankara will become in the next chapter, the detailed explanation of that. But however, in this chapter only, in the notes, we see the meaning of what is what. Why he is comparing like this, what it is indicating, what it is indicating, everything is indicated in this chapter only for our benefit. The next chapter will be simply a detailed explanation. So, in that way. दुरत्यये ध्वनि अजया निविष्टो
दुरातये ध्वनि अजाय निवेशितो
रजस्तमः सत्त्वविभक्तकर्मदृक्
रजस्तमसत्त्वविभक्तकर्मादृक्
स एष सार्थोऽर्थपातापरिभ्रमम्
एष सार्थोऽर्थ परपरिब्रह्मन्
भावाटवीं याति न शर्म विन्दति
भावात्वविं याति न सर्वविन्दति. Translation. Jadavarata, who had fully realized Brahman, continued, my dear King Rahugana, the living entity wanders on the path of the material world, which is very difficult for him to traverse, and he accepts repeated birth and death. Being captivated by the material world under the influence of the three modes of material nature, Sattva-guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna, the living entity can see only the three fruits of activities under the spell of material nature. These fruits are auspicious, inauspicious, and mixed. He thus becomes attached to religion, economic development, sense gratification, and the monastic theory of liberation, merging with the Supreme. He works very hard day and night, exactly like a merchant who enters a forest to acquire some articles to sell later for profit. However, he cannot really achieve happiness within this material world.
So here, the first verse, he introduces the journey. The Brahmana Bharata is saying, the merchant who sees only obligation to scriptural actions, divided into Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, who, out of ignorance, is fixed on the path of material enjoyment, difficult to cross, and who is absorbed in material acquisition, while wandering about, comes to the forest of material life, but cannot enjoy happiness. It's basically a Vartaka who is traveling for a business trade, and in order to do business, he has to go to nearby city. For that, he has to cross a forest. If he crosses the forest, he goes to the city, he will do some business, he will get some wealth, he will enjoy afterwards. The motive is to enjoy, the means is to do business. For that, you need to cross the forest and go there. But while going through the forest, you will encounter so many problems. All those problems are indicated now. Sartha is well known as a wealthy merchant. Medini says, Sartho Vanika Samuhe Syad. Sartha means a gathering or a merchant, gathering of merchants. All the jivas in the world are like merchants, interested in material acquisition. A Vyapari, a Vartak, want to acquire more and more money so that we can enjoy more and more. Same way, every living in the material world want to acquire material objects so that one can have more and more material enjoyment. That is the nature of the material world. So, in that way, he sees the activities divided into Tamoguni activities, Rajoguni activities, Sattoguni activities is obligatory because of ignorance and the difficult to cross path of Pravritti Marga. So, karma, the path of karma is being described here. So, activities, some of them activities are in the mode of goodness, some of them are in the mode of passion, some of them are in the mode of ignorance. But in any case, this the karmi mentality person considers these are all obligatory activities, compulsory performed, should be done. So, karna hi padega. So, like that, if he thinks that is the nature of the karmi mentality person. So, you want to perform all the activities and engage and earn money so that he can enjoy the life. That is the whole thing. The explanation of all these terms will be given in the next chapter. However, to make understanding easier, some explanation is given in this chapter. So even though next chapter will explain the meaning of each and every word, but here only the meanings are given in the notes. So like the Vartaka, in order to do business, he has to go to next city, but on the way forest is there, he entered into the forest. Then what happens? So basically forest means, in one sense, the material life. In order to enjoy, a karmi enters into a household order, or well, basically the world means the family. Family means all the family members are there, active, some business is there, or some service, some job is there. He take care of the family members, friends and relatives and himself, and all these things are there. So just like you consider a forest to be a city like Mumbai, a city like Hyderabad, how people live here. So that is what we can understand. There, the person's journey is going through forest, your person's journey is going through life. After joining job, after getting married, what will be the life that will be described in this forest of mental enjoyment? यस्यामिमेषं नरदेवदस्या दस्यवः
यस्यामिमे सन्नरदेवदस्यवः
सार्तं विलुम्पन्ति कुनायकं बलात्
सार्तं विलुम्पन्ति कुनायकं बलात्
गोमायवो यत्र हरन्ति सार्तिकम्
गोमायवो यत्र हरन्ति सात्तिकम्
प्रमत्तमाविश्ययतोरणं मृका
प्रमत्तमाविश्य यतोरणं मृगाः. O King Rahugana, in this forest of material existence, there are 6 very powerful plunderers. When the conditioned soul enters the forest to acquire some material gain, the 6 plunderers misguide him. Thus, the conditioned merchant does not know how to spend his money, and it is taken away by these plunderers.
O king, in the forest, the 6 plunderers plunder the merchant.
Like tiger.
Your voice is breaking, Prabhuji. We are not able to hear you. I will read. It's okay. O king, in the forest, the 6 plunderers plunder the merchant who has received bad advice. In that forest, the jackals enter his house by force and plunder the inattentive merchant, just as wolves steal sheep. So, as one goes into the forest, there are plunderers, robbers, they cheat, or there are forest animals who will hunt and eat up that person. So, something like that. Here, the 6 plunderers are the 6 senses. They plunder wealth from the jiva, whose intelligence is like a bad chariot driver, Nayakam. Though the wealth is actually meant for serving the Lord, but is used for the enjoyment. So here basically it is indicated here that the 6 plunderers are our 6 senses, the 5 jnanendriyas and mind. They keep telling us, do this, do that. Ye suno, wo dekho, ye khalo, ye smell karo, ye karo, wo karo. So that's how our life, which is meant for serving the Lord, will go away fetching these material objects. That's how they take away our valuable time and energy from us. That is called plundering. Wife and sons who are like jackals plunder the merchant who is inattentive to spiritual goals and possesses a treasure of food and clothing. The first thing, the senses have so many demands. The mind has so many demands. Ye chahiye, idhar jao, wo dekho, ye karo, wo karo. So 50% of energy goes in that. Other 50% of energy goes in taking care of the wife and children. So like that. If a person is not attentive to her spiritual life, one's life goes in taking care of the senses and taking care of the family members. One may say, और जीवन में और क्या है? From the materialistic point of view, there is nothing more than this in the life. But from devotee's point of view, there is much more than this in life. That is the difference. Avishya means they enter in the heart, which is like a house. Purana means sheep. So basically, the wife and children, they have strong, affectionate place in the heart. And just like the jackals enter into your house and take away your sheep, the wife and children will enter into your heart and take away one's valuable time and energy and everything. So in that way. See here, the speaker is important. We should understand. Who is speaking is very important. He has a strong temperament of detachment. So he will speak like that. Here in this case, we have to understand that the discussion is all about a karmi mentality person, not about a devotee. Here we are not condemning any wife or children or anybody, but the discussion is all about, in general, when somebody lives a karmi life, one's life goes in these things only, fulfilling the demands of the senses, fulfilling the demands of the mind, and fulfilling the demands of the family members. Life goes in this only. Then where is the time left for performing bhakti? So, like that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Is this chapter is described from the perspective of Jnani Yogi, like was directly condemning all the like wives and sons, because Bhakti Yogi's perspective is different from this perspective, right?
See, it does not matter any yogi. He is talking from the point of the material world. If the senses are stealing away your time and energy like the plunderers, what bhakti we can do? If the family members are stealing away one's time and energy, what bhakti one can do? Yes, there is a strong jnana temperament is there. As a result of that is condemning karmis. That may be true. But in general, even for bhakti also, bhaktas also, see, that's why I said, here, when you say wife and children means don't see them as like normal wife and children, where the wife and children are only interested in material profit. So like that you see. Because they are compared with jackal. You understand what is jackal? Jackal silently comes and steals away your sheep. So like that.
Okay, so material attachment is condemned. Like even devotees have, that is condemned.
See, how do you apply to devotees is a different thing, but the material lifestyle is condemned here.
Okay.
If somebody is only interested in the material enjoyment, such kind of association is condemned. That's why I said karmi. Here the Vartaka is compared to a karmi. So karmi lifestyle is condemned. That's why I said a typical Mumbaiite, a typical Hyderabadi person. I'm in Hyderabad, that's why I'm taking Hyderabad name. What is their life? What is the goal of their life?
Just to work like as a log and enjoy the life as much as possible.
Not exactly. Don't have to be so blunt. Life is meant to take care of the family members. हमारा घर वाले के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ, वाइफ एंड चिल्ड्रन के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ, बच्चों का पढ़ाई है और वाइफ का ये है वो है सब है, और बीच बीच रविवार को थोड़ा मजा करेंगे, मस्ती करेंगे, बीच बीच में हम इधर जाएंगे उधर जाएंगे, बीच जाएंगे, इधर उधर जाएंगे, सिनेमा जाएंगे, रेस्टोरेंट जाएंगे. दैट्स हाउ लाइफ गोस.
Yes,
So such a life में where the time to practice bhakti in such a life?
valuable time and energy is lost.
That's what is being indicated here. The six senses keep telling मुझे ये चाहिए, आज ये मूवी देखो, बाद में ये मूवी देखो, ये म्यूजिक सुनो, वो म्यूजिक सुनो, ऐसे ही चलता रहता है. And mind tells get a bungalow in South Mumbai. ओ EMI करते 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 जीवन खत्म हो गया. So like that. This chapter is actually the reality. This chapter can be very well suited to today's situation. 5,000 years back, this may not be so much relevant, but today this chapter is very much relevant. It is like dissection of the material life, post-mortem of the material life, how people around us are living. It clearly shows to us. No rocket science is required. प्लंडर मतलब क्या है? आपने बहुत मेहनत करके इकट्ठा करके रखा, तो चोर आके चोरी करके लेके जाएगा. Same thing. We may plan so much that today I want to read for 10 hours or whatever. Today is a holiday, Sunday, I want to read for 10 hours. But I suddenly opened the mobile, 10 hours over. पढ़ाई हुआ zero. That is called plunderer. Yes, simply without your knowledge stole away the 10 hours. Same way, jackal also like that. Steal away without your knowledge. So like that. Prabhu taviru trunagul magahware.
प्रभूतवीरुतृणगुल्मगुह्वरे
कठोर दंशैर मशकैरुपद्रुतः.
कठोरदंशैर्मशकैरुपद्रुतः
क्वचित्तु गन्धर्वपुरं प्रपश्यति.
क्वचित्तु गन्धर्वपुरं प्रपश्यति
क्वचित् शाशु रयोल्मुखग्रहम्.
क्वचिच्चासु रयोल्मुखग्रहम्. In this forest, there are dense boughs composed of thickets of bushes, grass, and creepers. In these boughs, the conditioned soul is always disturbed by cruelly biting mosquitoes, envious people. Sometimes he sees an imaginary palace in the forest, and sometimes he is bewildered by seeing a fleeting fiend or ghost which appears like a meteor, meteor in the sky.
Afflicted by mosquitoes with harsh biting in dense bowers of shrubs, grass, and vines, he sometimes sees a city in the sky and sometimes sees ghosts moving quickly in the sky like a meteor. In his house, like a bower, abundant in material actions like dense shrubs, he is disturbed by evil men who are like mosquitoes. अभी हम आराम से रह रहे हैं, बट बगल में वाले आपको रहने नहीं देगा, तो जानबूझ के झगड़ा करेंगे आपसे. जस्ट लाइक मॉस्किटोस डज नॉट वांट यू टू लिव पीसफुली. आप जानबूझ के डिस्टर्ब करेंगे. अभी राइट नाउ द बॉम्बे रेन्स हैव स्टार्टेड. देयर इज डेंगू, मलेरिया, एवरीवेयर इट इज एक्सपैंडिंग. The brahmachari ashram also, and everything is happening. Till now, people were waiting for the rains. Rains came, then dengue came. That's all. People are living on their own. The master does not allow you. It will come and bite you. You'll get something. The body and house are temporary, like the city in the sky. He sees the city in the sky as if it were real and permanent. So Tridashapur Akasha Pushpayate, something like that. There is a Bangar golden city seen in the sky. So one may think that ये तो हमेशा के लिए रहेगा. नहीं, आप देखते रहो, देह को त्याग करना पड़ेगा. जीवन काल खत्म हो जाएगा. So like that. Sometimes he sees pichashas who take the form of firebrands and move quickly in the sky. This refers to seeing gold, which he regards as valuable. अभी आजकल को गोल्ड का भाव ज्यादा है. So sometimes the golden ornaments are seen at the ultimate end of life. So family वाला है तो there is हमेशा there is a discussion. Let us buy gold. Let us buy gold. We need to have golden ornament. This चाहिए, वो चाहिए, वो चाहिए, ये चाहिए, चाहिए. Because one thinks that having gold is all in all in life. So like that. So getting a golden ornament is like success of the life. So like that. निवाशतो या द्रविणात्म बुद्धेस
निवाशतो या द्रविणात्मबुद्धिः
ततस्ततो धावति भो अटव्या
ततस्ततो धावति भो अतव्याम्
क्वचिच्च वात्योत्थित कूपांशु धूम्रा
क्वचिच्च वात्योत्थितपां सुधूम्रा
दिशो न जानाति रजस्वलाक्षः
दिशो न जानाति विलाक्षः. My dear king, the merchant on the forest path of the material world, his intelligence victimized by home, wealth, relatives, and so forth, runs off from one place to another in searching of success. Sometimes his eyes are covered by the dust of a wild wind. That is to say, in his lust, he is captivated by the beauty of his wife, especially during her menstrual period. Thus, his eyes are blinded, and he cannot see where to go or what he is doing.
O king, thinking that house, water, and wealth are his, he runs here and there in the forest, sometimes covered with dirt, raised by a whirlwind, his eyes blinded by dust. He does not know the directions. So जीवन कैसे रहेगा भौतिक जगत में? Thinking that house and wealth are his, he runs here and there. So घर मेरा है, बैंक प्रॉपर्टी मेरा है, जीवन पूरा उसका पीछे चलता रहता है. He becomes covered by the impulses of lust because of women. This is comparable to being covered by dirt raised by a whirlwind. The whole life goes on after impressing the woman. So in that way. His eyes blinded by lust. He does not know that the devatas of the directions are witness to his actions. His eyes blinded by lust, he does not know that the devatas of the directions are witness to his actions. So we are doing so many things here. Devatas are always guarding us. They are always watching us what we are doing. They are continuously noting down whatever activity that we are doing. That we are ignorant of. So in that way. So it's basically We are interested in mental activities. We are busy in doing all those things without having any apprehension that some people are noticing us. So, in that way. ಅದೃಶ್ಯ ಜಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವನಕರ್ಣಶೂಲ
ಅದೃಶ್ಯಧಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವನಕಾರ್ನ ಶೂಲ
ಉಲೂಕವಾಗ್ಬೇರ್ವ್ಯತಿರಾಂತರಾತ್ಮ
ಹುಲೂಕವಾಗ್ಬೇರ್ ವ್ಯತಿತಾಂತರಾತ್ಮ
ಪುಣ್ಯವೃಕ್ಷಾನ್ ಶ್ರಯತೆ ಕ್ಷುಧಾರ್ದಿತೋ
ಅಪುಣ್ಯವೃಕ್ಷಾನ್ ಶ್ರಯತೆ ಕ್ಷುಧಾರ್ದಿತೋ
ಮರೀಚಿತೋ ಯಾನಿ ಅಭಿಧಾವತಿ ಕ್ವಚಿತ್
ಮರೀಚಿತೋ ಯಾನಿ ಅಭಿಧಾವತಿ ಕ್ವಚಿತ್. Wandering in the forest of material world, the conditioned soul sometimes hears an invisible cricket making harsh sounds, and his ears becomes very much aggrieved. Sometimes his heart is paining by the sound of owls, which are just like a harsh words of his enemies. Sometimes he takes shelter of the tree that has no fruits or flowers. He approaches such a tree due to his strong appetite, and thus he suffers. He would like to acquire water, but he is simply illusioned by a mirage, and he runs after it.
when his mind is disturbed by the sounds of owls and the piercing cries of invisible crickets, afflicted by hunger, he takes shelter of impious trees and sometimes runs after a mirage of water. So when he wants sleeping, he'll be disturbed by sounds of the owls and cries of the crickets. When he is feeling hungry, he has to take shelter of impious trees. When the forest, na, the pious trees will give you good fruits. Impious trees will give you poisonous fruits. And for water, you want to go to water, a rain, a river, but there is no river. Instead, there is a mirage. The mirage will never give you water. It keeps showing a illusion only. Yes, yes, come here, water is here, like that. So in that, his ears are pierced by the sharp language of the detested speakers he does not see. This is like the sounds of crickets. Cricket sounds are like the false rumors. People talk about you, talk about us in a wrong way. We don't know who is spreading the rumors, but the rumors are spreading everywhere. His mind is afflicted by the words of the detested speakers he can see, who are like the owls. Owls we can see. So there are some people in front of our eyes only speaks false criticism. So in that way, they are there in front of us always. He goes to sinful people who are like the impious trees to beg. जीवन में कुछ खाना चाहिए तो मतलब see there is some problem of money, we go and take shelter of some sinful people. What to do? Even the shade or shelter of such persons is the cause of sin. So going to such people itself is one gets contaminated by their sinful propensity, and one itself becomes sinful. So in that way, sometimes he begs from uncharitable persons who give nothing. They are like the mirage of water. Mirage, it shows that it has water, but it has no water. Same way, sometimes we have to go after some people who promise that they'll give you something, but they will never give anything. They simply exploit on the other hand. So like this, we encounter people around us. क्वचिद्वितो या सरितो बियाति
क्वचित् वितोया सरितोऽभियाति
परस्परं चालशते निरन्दः
परस्परं चालसते निरन्दः
आसाद्य दावं क्वचिदग्नितप्तो
आसाद्य दावं क्वचिदग्निताप्तप्तो
विर्विद्यते क्वाच यक्षैर्हताशु
निर्विद्यते क्वच yakshairhritasuhu. Sometimes the conditioned soul jumps into shallow water or being short or food drinks. He goes to beg food from people who are not at all charitable. Sometimes he suffers from the burning heat of household life, which is like a forest fire. And sometimes he becomes sad to have his wealth, which is as dear as life, plundered by kings in the name of heavy income taxes.
Sometimes he jumps in waterless rivers. बहुत गर्म लग रहा है समर जैसा. To take bath, he jumps into a river, but there is no water. Instead, he breaks his legs. And sometimes without food. And sometimes without food, he desires food from relatives. Sometimes encountering a forest fire, he becomes burnt by the fire. And when his wealth is stolen by yakshas, he falls into despair. All these things will take place. He becomes immediately unhappy by breaking his limbs when he jumps into a waterless river, but gets no water or food. So jump करके कुछ फायदा नहीं. Because he was running after mirage, hoping for some water. Mirage never gave water, but he thought that there is a river. He thought there will be water. He can take bath and he can drink sufficiently. When he jumped into the river, there is no water. Instead, he broke his legs. This means he goes to atheists who give misery in this and the next world. Atheist लोग बाहर से दिखने के लिए अच्छा वाला दिखता है, but by their company, one performs sinful activities, one suffers in this life, and one goes to hell after death. Without food, he desires it from others. अपने पास भोजन नहीं रहेगा तो खाने के लिए किसी और का चोरी करने के लिए प्रयास करते. He comes to a house which gives suffering like a forest fire. So where if one want to steal others, when he is caught, he will get misery here only. No need to go to hell. Being caught, they will punish such a person. Thus he becomes despondent, burned by the fire of lamentation. एक तरफ हंगर है, दूसरी तरफ कोई कुछ नहीं दे रहा है, किसी का स्टील करने जा रहे हैं तो वो पकड़ के मार रहा है. So he is going through all suffering here only. He whose wealth, dear like life, has been stolen by kings who are like yakshas and rakshasas, becomes despondent thinking, how unfortunate I am without wealth. Even if somebody has some wealth, there are so many taxation. Taxes were collected by the kings and this, that, all these things, and everything is looted. So when you don't have anything, you have to lament. When you have something, you have to lament. That is this. शूरैरुतश्वा क्वचनिर्विन्नचेताः
शूरैर्हृतस्व क्वच निर्विन्नचेताः
शौचन् विमुह्यन् उपयाति कल्मषम्. Sorry,
शोचन्
कश्मलम्.
शोचन् विमुह्यन् उपयाति कस्मलम्
क्वचिच्च गन्धर्वपुरं प्रविष्टः
क्वचिच्च गन्धर्वपुरं प्रविष्टः
प्रमोदते निर्वृतवन्मुहूर्तम्.
प्रमोदते निर्वृतवन्मुहूर्तम्. Sometimes being defeated or plundered by a superior, powerful agent, a living entity loses all his possessions. He then becomes very morose and lamenting their loss. He sometimes becomes unconscious. Sometimes he imagines a great palatial city in which he desired to live happily in with his family members and riches. He thinks himself fully satisfied if this is possible. But such so called happiness continues only for a moment.
With these possessions stolen by enemies, sometimes With a depressed heart and lamentation, in great bewilderment, he faints. Sometimes entering an imaginary city, he enjoys for a moment as if fully satisfied. Having his desires fulfilled in terms of sons, wife, wealth, and power is like entering an imaginary Gandharva city. So it's like, yeah, sometimes the family life is very seems to be very beautiful. Or sometimes when one goes to a movie for the 2 3 hours, everything seems to be very beautiful. So there is some enjoyment for some time. So for that time, one thinks that one is in Gandharva city. So one is enjoying the life of Gandharva, something like that. So, but later on, one has to come out. One cannot continue there for a long time. So in that. चलन क्वचित् कंटक शर्करांग्री
चलन क्वचित् कंटक सर्करांग्रीर
नगारुरुक्षोर्विमना इवास्ते
नगारुरुक्षुर्विमना इवासते
पदे
इवा
पदेभ्यन्तरवह्निनार्दितः
पदे पदे भयंतर वह्निनार्दितः
कौटुम्बिकाक्रोद्यति वै जनाय
कौटुंबिकः क्रुध्यति वै जनाय. Sometimes the merchant in the forest wants to climb the hills and mountains, but due to insufficient footwear, his feet are pricked by some small stones, fragments, and by thorns on the mountain. Being pricked by them, he becomes very grieved. Sometimes a person who is very attached to his family becomes overwhelmed with hunger, and due to his miserable condition, he becomes furious with his family members.
His feet become pierced by thorns, and he wanders about. As he wanders about, wanting to climb a hill, he becomes disappointed step by step. Very difficult to climb a mountain. So in that, pained by the fire of digestion, living with his family, he becomes angry at his family members. ये सब होते रहता है. Means what? Desiring to climb a high mountain means desiring fame by marrying his daughters and sons. ये तो हर फैमिली वाला का समस्या है. Desiring to do this, he becomes depressed thinking, how can I accomplish this? Especially those who have more daughters, they have tough time to get them married nowadays. His feet become cut by thorns because he has no shoes. This indicates that he becomes defeated by obstacles because he has no assistance. अकेला मेहनत करना पड़ता है, अकेला स्ट्रगल करना पड़ता है. So that is being the fire within is the fire of digestion. So pained by fire of digestion, living with his family, he becomes angry at his family members. Time पे खाना नहीं मिलेगा तो हरे कृष्ण. So like that. ये होता रहता है. All these things will happen in the material world. क्वचिन्निकीर्णो जगराहिनाजनो
क्वचिन्निगीर्णो जगराहिना जनो
नावैति किञ्चिद्विपिनेपविद्धः
नावैति किञ्चित् विपिने पवित्तः
दष्टास्मसेते क्वचदण्डसुखैर्
दष्टस्मसेते क्वच दण्डसूकैर्
अन्धो अन्धोऽन्धकूपे पतितस्तमिश्रे
अन्धोऽन्धकूपे पतितस्तमिश्रे. The conditioned soul in the material forest is sometimes swallowed by a python or crushed. At such a time, he is left lying in the forest like a dead person, devoid of consciousness and knowledge. Sometimes other poisonous snakes bite him. Being blind to his consciousness, he falls down into dark well of hellish life with no hope of being rescued.
So it further continued. Sometimes he is swallowed by a python and loses consciousness. Sometimes not woken up by friends. He is bitten by a snake in the forest while he sleeps. Sometimes in blindness, he falls into a dark blind well. ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स होता है फॉरेस्ट में. Swallowed by a python means he goes to sleep. Not woken up by friends. He is afflicted by evil persons like snakes. So basically, swallowed by a python means he goes to sleep means a person keeps doing something unwanted things. उनके अगल बगल में रहने वाले कोई भी उनको बोलते नहीं ये मत करो करके. And by doing that unwanted, undesirable things, one will get strong reactions like biting of the snakes. So like that. Blind without discrimination, he falls into illusion like a blind well covered by darkness, filled by misery. Same thing. So falling into blind well means वो कुछ करते हैं ना जानते हुए तो फंस जाते. So something like that. So like this many times happens in our surroundings. People, they do something, why they are doing, they also don't know. But finally they end up with a miserable reaction. So like that it happens. Because there is no one to stop such a person, there is no one to guide such a person. That is the problem. Even if somebody want to guide, he does not take the guidance. So in that. Hare Krishna, you are able to follow? Any questions till now?
Following, Prabhuji.
Other devotees? ये थोड़ा कंटेम्पररी है, प्रैक्टिकल है, हमारे अगल बगल में होते रहते हैं सब.
No questions, Prabhuji, following.
रिलेट कर पा रहे हैं.
हाँ
Prabhuji,
हाँ
it is said that is followed by a python and he falls into an illusion.
हाँ.
Your sleep means like wasting time in a sleeping or like
नो नो नो, कुछ अंधकार में करते रहना, क्या कर रहे क्यों कर रहे पता नहीं, करते रहते कुछ पाप कार्य करते रहते. बगल
ignorance.
बगल में वाले भी कुछ बोलते नहीं, आपको रोकते नहीं.
Your
Some
action mostly are in ignorance and darkness.
sleeping means darkness. Darkness means without understanding what is going to be the outcome, we do it. चला करते रहे कुछ पाप कार्य. Finally, we end up in serious reactions like snake bite. बहुत भयानक रहता है वो.
Okay.
So it's like that. Here sleeping means not just sleeping, doing some sinful activity without understanding what is the future outcome. That is called sleeping. Inattentive. ये मैं कर रहा हूँ कुछ गलत गलत कर रहा हूँ, भविष्य में प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा, ऐसा कर सोचते नहीं. So like that. Same way. So without understanding, without estimating what is going to happen, one goes and falls into a blind well. So it's like that. Coming out will be very difficult. So that. करहि स्मचित् क्षुद्र रसान् विचिन्वन्
करहि स्मचित् क्षुद्र रसान् विचिन्वम्
तन्मक्षिकाभिर्व्यथितो विमानः
तन्मक्षिकाभिर्व्यतितो विमानः
तत्रातिकृच्छ्रात् प्रतिलब्धमानो
तत्रातिकृच्छ्रात् प्रतिलब्धमानो
बलाद् विलुम्पन्ति यततं ततोऽन्ये.
बलाद् विलुम्पन्ति अततं ततोऽन्ये. Sometimes, in order to have a little insignificant sex enjoyment, one searches after debauched women. In this attempt, one is insulted and chastised by a woman's kinsman. This is like going to take honey from a beehive and being attacked by the bees. Sometimes, after spending lots of money, one may acquire another woman for some extra sense enjoyment. Unfortunately, the object of sense enjoyment, the woman is taken away or kidnapped by another debauchee.
Sometimes searching for a little honey, he is bitten by bees. Disgraced, he finally obtains it with great difficulty, but by force, others steal it from him. फॉरेस्ट है ना, हनी के लिए ढूंढ रहे थे, हनी मिलते मिलते साथ ही साथ बी का बाइटिंग में मिलेगा, बट इवेंचुअली व्हेन यू गेट द हनी कोई और आके उनको लेके जाएगा. सो लाइक दैट द इनसिग्निफिकेंट हनी इज another person's wife. He suffers disgraced by the husband and brothers like bee biting. So if somebody is running after somebody else's wives, when they are caught, that's all. Everyone will be after them. If by great effort, by spending a lot of money, he obtains the woman and enjoys her, sometimes someone else steals her. Then again, he spends money to get another woman and someone else steals her. So like that, ये भौतिक जगत में चलता रहता है. Sukadeva Goswami is telling about all these things at the beginning of the Kali Yuga, and our Brahmana Bharata telling to Rahugana, King Rahugana, during Swayambhu Manvantara. That means all these things were there even the time of Swayambhu Manvantara also. So this is the nature of material world. So no one is exception. Vachichati ta tapavata varsha
क्वचिच्च सीता तपवातवर्ष
प्रतिक्रियां कर्तुमनीशास्ते
प्रतिक्रियां कर्तुमनीश आस्ते
क्वचिन्मितो विपन्नान् यच्च किञ्चित्
क्वचिन्मितो विपन्नन् यच्च किञ्चित्
विद्वेषमर्चन्ति उत शाट्यात्
विश्वेशमृच्छत्युत वित्तसात्यत्. Sometimes the living entity is busy counteracting the natural disturbances of freezing cold, scorching heat, strong wind, excessive rainfall, and so forth. When he is unable to do so, he becomes very unhappy. Sometimes he is cheated in business transactions one after another. In this way, by cheating, living entities create enmity among themselves.
Sometimes he is unable to counteract the cold, heat, wind and rain. Forest में तो ये सब आएगा. Sometimes while transacting business with others, he gains their enmity because of cheating them for wealth. Whether they maybe want to cheat or he may want to cheat them, there is enmity. While buying and selling because of cheating for money, he develops enemies. A rate ज़्यादा हो गया, rate कम हो गया, like that. So the cold, heat, wind, rain, they are there in the forest, they are there in the city also. They are everywhere, they are common for everyone. क्वचित् क्वचिक्षीणदनस्तु तस्मिन्
क्वचित् क्षीणधनस्तु तस्मिन्
शय्यासनस्थानविहारयिनः
शय्यासनस्थानविहारहीनः
याचन् परात् प्रतिलब्धकामः
याचन् परात् अप्रतिलब्धकामाः
पारक्यदृष्टेर्लभतेव मानम्
पारक्यदृष्टेर्लभते वमानम्. On the forest path of material existence, sometimes a person is without wealth and due to this does not have a proper home, bed, or sitting place, nor proper family enjoyment. He therefore goes to beg money from others. But when his desires are not fulfilled by begging, He wants to borrow or steal the property of others. Thus, he is insulted in society.
In that forest, devoid of wealth, without bed, chair, house, or amusement, he sometimes begs from others, unsatisfied in his desires, desiring the wealth of others, he becomes disgraced. Because he does not get enough from begging from others, he desires others' wealth and is consequently disrespected. He desires to cheat others' wealth, being caught, will be disrespected. So, like that. All these things will take place. So, खुद को चाहिए बट मेहनत नहीं कर पाते तो किसी और का चोरी करने का प्रयास करते. So, like that. But being caught will be disrespected. अन्योन्य वित्ता व्यतिसंग वृद्धा
अन्योन्यवित्त व्यतिसंगवृद्ध
वैरानुबन्धो विवहन्मितश्च
वैरानुबन्धो विवहन् मितश्च
अध्वन्यमुस्मिन् उरुकृच्छ्रवित्ता
आध्वन्यमुस्मिन्नुरुकृच्च वित्त
भादोपसर्गैर्विहरन् विपन्नः
पादोपसर्गैर्विहरन् विपन्नः. Due to monetary transactions, relationships become very strained and end in enmity. Sometimes the husband and wife walk on the path of material progress, and to maintain their relationship, they work very hard. Sometimes, due to scarcity of money or due to diseased conditions, they are embarrassed and almost to die. Embarrassed and almost die.
living with increased enmity because of business transactions for wealth. He marries. Wandering on the path, he almost dies because of the great difficulties, loss of wealth, and the sickness that he encounters. So, all the other problems which are there in the forest for a merchant and the city for a person. He gains increased enmity with others by transactions for wealth in which each party desires to gain. Yeah, in business dealing, everyone wants to gain profit. There is enmity, there is a discussion, conflict, disagreement, and enmity finally. But still, he marries among such persons. So, in order to further the business dealings, from the daughter of a businessman only gets married to. Because अपने स्वयं कुछ नहीं करते, किसी बड़ा आदमी के साथ रिश्ता करेंगे तो कुछ होगा. So, like that. Wandering on the path of material existence, he almost dies because of great suffering, loss of money, and sickness. So, कितना भी मैन प्लान करो, जो नसीब में नहीं लिखा होता क्या होता है? कुछ नहीं होता है. So, he was trying so many things, but everywhere is getting lost and experiences only misery. Life, misery after misery, misery after misery. That is what will happen in the material world. So, like तांस्तान् विपन्नान् सहि तत्र तत्र
तांस्तान् विपन्नान् सहि तत्र
विहाय जातं परिगृह्य सार्थः
विहाय जातं परिगृह्य सार्थः
अवर्ततेऽद्यापि न कश्चिदत्र
आवर्ततेऽद्यापि न स कश्चिदत्र
विरादवन्नाप सारी विराद्वनापारमुपैति योगम्
वीराध्वन परमुपैति yogam. My dear king, on the forest path of material life, first a person is bereft of his father and mother, and after their death, he becomes attached to his newly born children. In this way, he wanders on the path of material progress and is eventually embarrassed. Nonetheless, no one knows how to get out of this, even up to the moment of death.
O king, giving up all those who have died, and attempting those who are accepting those who are born, he wanders about in the forest. Even then, the merchant does not take to the method of crossing material life. So basically, one's parents are dying, one's children are getting born, but still one does not think that one day I will die. I need to do something after my life. I need to prepare for something after my life. No, ये बिजनेस कैसे चलेगा उसके बारे में सोचते रहते हैं. Giving up the dead, he accepts those who are born. He wanders about, but until today does not go toward the Lord. So basically, such a person does not think about spiritual world and spiritual bhakti and all. Only one thing: how to earn more and more wealth, how to have more and more enjoyment. No one among the merchants attain the method of crossing the forest, bhakti or jnana. So such a karmi will never look up to jnana yoga or bhakti yoga. It is very difficult. So in that way, it's basically, so giving up those who have died means the parents are dying. So normally parents are dying means dying, that is okay. But one thing that okay, now I have to take care of my parents' business and all like that only. But actually, no one questions what happens to a person after death, where they are going, why they are going, how they are going to go through different cycle of birth and death. Such kind of jignasa very rarely comes. So that is the issue. Manasvino nirjita diggajendra.
मनस्विनो निर्जितदिग्गजेन्द्र
ममेति सर्वे भुवि बद्धवैरा.
ममेति सर्वे भुवि बद्धवैराः
मृते सैरन्न तु तद्व्रजन्ति.
मृदे सैरन्न तु तद्व्रजन्ति
यन्नस्य दण्डो गतवैरो वियाति.
यन्यस्तदण्डो गतवैरो वियाति. There were and are many political and social heroes who have conquered enemies of equal power. Yet, due to their ignorance in believing that the land is theirs, they fight one another and lay down their lives in battle. They are not able to take up the spiritual path accepted by those in the renounced order, although they are big heroes and political leaders. They cannot take to the path of spiritual realization.
Warriors who have conquered even the elephants and directions, but think in terms of mind, surrounded by their enemies, all fall dead on the battlefield. They do not attain the abode attained by those who have renounced all material attachments, have no enemies. So there are two comparisons are given. The renounced devotees who have nothing to claim in this material world without any material attachment will go to spiritual world easily. The great warriors, powerful, who can conquer elephants, who can conquer enemies, they are surrounded by all the enemies. One day all the warriors will die and either go to hell or heaven, but they will never go to spiritual world. So like that. Great warriors conquer even the elephants of the directions situated far away, but they cannot conquer the 11 senses which are close enemies. This is their courage, but it is not spiritual. Thinking in terms of mind, they all die on the battlefield. Spiritual courage is then described. Real courage is having no enemy and giving up all material attachments. So, like that. Spiritual courage means no enemy, giving up all attachments and going back to Godhead. Ajata Shatru, Shantava, Sadhu Sadhubhushan. So, in that way. प्रसज्यति क्वापि लता भुजाश्रयस्.
प्रसज्यति क्वापि लता भुजश्रयस्
तदाश्रया व्यक्तपदद्विजस्पृहा
तदाश्रयाव्यक्तपदद्विजस्पृहा
क्वचित् कदाचिदरीचक्रतस्त्रशन्
क्वचित् कदाचिदरिचक्रतस्त्रसन्
सख्यं विदत्ते बत कङ्कगृध्रै
सख्यं विदत्ते बककङ्कगृध्रैः. Sometimes the living entity in the forest of material existence takes shelter of creepers and desires to hear the chirping of the birds and those creepers. Being afraid of roaring lions in the forest, he makes friends with cranes, herons, and vultures.
Sometimes the living entity in the forest of material existence takes shelter of creepers, desiring to hear the chirping of the birds in those creepers. So here the creepers are like the wives, chirping of the birds are that small tender talks of the small kids, something like that. Being afraid of group of lions in the forest, he makes friends with cranes, herons, and vultures. In one side of the forest, there are lions and tigers, so one is afraid of them. Other side, there are cranes, herons, and vultures. One makes friends with these people. Again, the forest of material life is described. He takes shelter of the happiness of the touch of the arms of women, like creepers. He desires to hear the birds which cannot be heard because they are sleeping in the creepers. This refers to the inaudible words of the woman while embracing the man. Vijaya refers to the children born from them. He desires to see and touch them, the small kids. Pretenders say, how will you become free of material life? Hearing these words by chance, he becomes afraid of the wheel of time, which is like a group of lions. To alleviate his fear, he eagerly accepts the words of the cheaters. Easily you can cross the ocean of suffering. So basically, when somebody questions, you think it is so easy to cross the samsara? Then he becomes afraid. Oh, it's not even. Then somebody will say, no, no, it is very easy. ये तो इनको ये अच्छा है, so इनके साथ friendship करेंगे. So like that. So easily becomes cheated by the fanciful words of the cheaters. So like that. The cheaters are compared to cranes, herons, and vultures, who are actually waiting and catch the prey. So like that. He makes friends with the cheaters who are like cranes. They are cheaters, unintelligent, and cruel. Cheaters, unintelligent, and cruel. Something like that. तैर्वञ्चितोऽहं सकुलं समाविशन्
तैर्वञ्चितोऽहं सकुलं समाविशन्
अरोचयन् शीलमुपैति वानरान्
आरोचयन् शीलमुपैति वानरान्
तज्जातिरासेन सुनीरुतेन्द्रियः
तज्जातिरासेन सुनिर्वृतेन्द्रियः
परस्परोद्वीक्षण विस्मृतावधि
परस्परो वीक्षण विस्मृतावधिः. Being cheated by them, the living entity in the forest of the material world tries to give up the association of the so-called yogis, swamis, and incarnation and come to the association of real devotees. But due to misfortune, he cannot follow the instructions of the spiritual master or advanced devotees. Therefore, he gives up their company and again returns to the association of monkeys who are simply interested in sense gratification and women. He derives satisfaction by associating with sense gratifiers and enjoying sex and intoxication. In this way, he spoils his life simply by indulging in sex and intoxication. Looking into the faces of other sense gratifiers, he becomes forgetful that thus approaches death.
Cheated by the cranes, he contacts a group of swans, but not satisfied with their behavior, approaches some monkeys. So the impious gurus, he understands, kuch hota hai nahi. Then he comes in the association of devotees. Devotees will say, follow four regulatory principles, no tea, no coffee, eat only Krishna Prasad. तो बहुत टफ है, छोड़ो छोड़ो मेरा बस की बात है, नहीं मैं जा रहा हूँ. Then he approaches some monkeys who are busy in enjoying. So in that way, he senses joyful because of the pleasure arising from them. He gazes at their faces and forgets about death. So in the association of monkey-like people, he feels enjoyment and forgets about death. Understanding that they give no results, he goes. Understanding that the crane-like false gurus give no results, he goes to a group of brahmanas, but he is not satisfied with their rules of atonement and taking the sacred thread again. Not satisfied, he goes to some pretenders, almost Shudras, with fallen conduct. Satisfied with unrestricted association with women, eating and drinking, by looking at their faces, he forgets that death is approaching. So in that way. Then what? Dhrumeshuram sen sutadara vassalo
Rumeshwaramsyan Sutadara Vatsalo
vyavayadeno vivasha swabandhane
Vyavayadino Vivashasva Bandhane
क्वचित् प्रमादात् गिरिकन्दरे पतन्
Vachit Parapramadat Girikandare Patan
वल्लीं गृहीत्वा गजभीत आस्थितः.
Vallim Grihitva Gajabit Astitaha.
I will read, Mataji. I will read. Enjoying in the trees, affectionate to sons and wife, miserable because of sex life, bound up there and helpless, he sometimes, out of inattention, falls into a mountain cave, holding onto a creeper, afraid of an elephant. He remains dangling there. Na idhar na udhar, बीच में लटक जाते. He enjoys in the houses, places of pleasure, desiring sex life. He is kicked by the woman. मतलब घर पे रहते हैं, in the company of wife and children. You want to have good life, but wife and children keep asking money, keep asking this, keep asking that. So होता रहता है. He is bound up helplessly in that forest and cannot escape, but continue to wander in the forest. So family को maintain करने के लिए he keeps running here and there for wealth. So family को छोड़ नहीं सकते, काम भी नहीं कर सकते. So it's like that. Becoming terribly sick, like falling into a mountain cave, he fears death compared to an elephant. He remains alive by the support of his karmas, like a vine holding him up. Such a person wants to die as early as possible, but cannot. So like that. So that is how basically one is bound in this material world. So there are a lot of demands at home, but you need the company of family members, but you cannot fulfill their demands. ना छोड़ सकते ना रह सकते. So that is the situation. अतः कथांचित् समविमुक्तपादः
Atak Katanchit Savimukta
पुनः सार्थं प्रविशन्ति अरिन्दमा.
Punashasartam Pravishati Arindama
अध्वन्यमुस्मिन् अजया निवेशितो
Advani Amushmin Ajayani Veshito
ब्रह्मन् जनोद्यापि न वेद कश्चन.
Brahman Janodhyapina Veda Kaschana.
O king, this is the final verse in this section. So this is the last verse for our today's discussion. O king, killer of enemies, somehow he becomes free from danger and again begins to enjoy. So somehow by good fortune, as a result of one's previous karmas, थोड़ा सा relief मिलता है. But as soon as the relief is there, one looks for sinful activities, one want to enjoy unethically, adharmically, then one is bound again. Absorbed in the path by ignorance, a person wanders about till death and does not understand anything. So in this way, the life passes. Ultimately, one falls on the deathbed. Still, one does not realize what is the purpose of human life. The life goes in fulfilling one's desires of the six senses, fulfilling the demands of the family members. Like that, the life of a karmi goes in this material world. Such a person will never open to take up the jnana or bhakti. So like that. So again, wherever he gets some relief, he again tries to enjoy pravritti marga. He does not know the Supreme Lord. So in this way, he talked about the forest of material enjoyment. How a karmi person, like a vartaka, entering into a forest to get business and get money and to enjoy. So same way, a person enters into household life in this material world hoping to enjoy, but whole life goes in working hard to maintain the demands of the six senses and the demands of the family members, wife and children. So like this, whole life goes on. Such a person will never ever, even until the last breath, will never ever realize what is the purpose of life, how to accomplish that. So in this way. So thank you very much. I'm sorry I've taken little extra verses today, but thought of completing this section. The next class will continue from 20th verse onwards. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Prabhuji, did you get back your mobile? How you lost it?
It's okay. It is a different story.
Acha, okay, God bless.
Let God bless the person who received it.
Okay, that is the good heart. You will definitely
So
be blessed.
what can be done?
Instead of cursing the person, you are blessing. Very good.
No. I'll get
Thank
a
you,
new one.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So today's class was a little direct, which we can relate to what's happening around us in our contemporary world also. But one thing, kindly remember, all these things can happen to anybody also. Not that the neighbor only going through all these problems. We might have gone through some problems. We may go through some problems in the future. We might be going through some problems now also. But what all obstacles can come in the life of a sadhaka are kind of presented very briefly in allegorically in this chapter. The meaning, though the meanings are given in the next chapter, we have seen through the notes what is the meaning and all. So we should be careful. Basically, a devotee is the one who is holding the sword of knowledge, protected by the fencing of the devotee association, riding on the horse of detachment, should cross beyond this ocean of not ocean, forest of material enjoyment. So that is the theme of this section. So in that way. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद
की जय.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay.